In the ever-expanding world of cinema, few movies manage to strike a balance between psychological depth and thrilling action. Trigger Warning is one such film that takes viewers on a gripping journey through the dark alleys of the human mind, exploring themes of trauma, revenge, and the ambiguous line between justice and vengeance. From the very first scene, the movie pulls you into a world where the protagonist, a woman grappling with the weight of her past, embarks on a quest that is as much about personal redemption as it is about confronting the wrongs of society. The film opens with a striking visual of the protagonist, whose name remains undisclosed for much of the movie, standing alone in a dimly lit room. The atmosphere is tense, with shadows playing across her face, hinting at the internal demons she's battling. This initial scene sets the tone for what's to come, an intense exploration of a character who is both broken and resilient, driven by a need to right the wrongs that have shaped her life. The cinematography immediately draws you in, using light and shadow to mirror the protagonist's journey through the dark and light aspects of her psyche. As the story unfolds, we are slowly introduced to fragments of the protagonist's past. These glimpses are not delivered through straightforward flashbacks, but rather through disjointed memories that intrude on her present. The film masterfully uses these memories to build a picture of a woman who has been deeply scarred, both physically and emotionally. Her trauma is not just a backstory. It's a living, breathing part of her character that informs every decision she makes. The nonlinear narrative structure reflects the chaotic nature of her mind, making the audience feel as if they are piecing together a puzzle alongside her. One of the most compelling aspects of Trigger Warning is its refusal to paint the protagonist in black and white. She is neither a hero nor a villain, but exists in a morally gray area that challenges the audience's perceptions. Her actions are driven by a sense of justice, but as the film progresses, it becomes clear that her version of justice is deeply personal and at times brutal. This complexity makes her a fascinating character to follow. You sympathize with her pain and understand her motivations, but you are also forced to question the morality of her actions. This duality is one of the film's strengths, as it does not allow the audience to become complacent in their judgment. The supporting characters in Trigger Warning are equally complex, each adding a different layer to the story. There's the antagonist, a figure who represents the institutional power that the protagonist is up against. This character is not a one-dimensional villain, but a well-rounded individual with his own motivations and justifications for his actions. The film does an excellent job of making you understand why he does what he does, even if you disagree with him. This nuanced portrayal of the antagonist adds depth to the conflict, making it more than just a battle between good and evil. Another important character is the protagonist's confidant, a person who has also been wronged by the system but has chosen a different path. This character serves as a foil to the protagonist, highlighting the different ways people cope with trauma. Their interactions are some of the most emotionally charged moments in the film, as they reveal the different ways in which pain can shape a person's life. The confidant's presence forces the protagonist to confront her own choices, adding another layer of psychological depth to the narrative. The dialogue in Trigger Warning is sharp and purposeful, with every line serving to reveal something about the characters or advance the plot. The conversations are loaded with subtext, often revealing more in what is left unsaid than in the words themselves. This approach to dialogue makes the film feel more like a psychological drama than a straightforward thriller, as the true battles are often fought with words rather than actions. The protagonist's interactions with others are particularly compelling, as they reveal her internal struggles and the ways in which she is both shaped by and rebelling against her past. The action sequences in Trigger Warning are intense and visceral, yet they never feel gratuitous. Each act of violence is portrayed with a realism that makes it all the more impactful. The film does not shy away from showing the brutal consequences of violence, both physical and psychological. These scenes are interspersed with quieter moments of reflection, allowing the audience to absorb the full impact of what they have witnessed. This careful pacing creates a rhythm that keeps the viewer on edge, never quite knowing when the next explosion of violence will occur. It also reinforces the film's central message that violence is not a solution, but a destructive force that leaves scars on both the victim and the perpetrator. The film's visual style is another standout feature. The cinematography is both beautiful and unsettling, with a color palette that shifts to reflect the protagonist's emotional state. The use of shadows and light is particularly effective in creating a sense of unease, with many scenes bathed in darkness or harsh, artificial light. This visual approach not only enhances the mood of the film, but also serves to underscore its themes. The world of Trigger Warning is one where nothing is clear-cut. Everything is shrouded in ambiguity, from the morality of the characters' actions to the nature of the world they inhabit. The theme of trauma is central to Trigger Warning, with the film offering a powerful depiction of its effects. The protagonist is clearly shaped by her past, with her trauma driving much of her behavior. The film does not treat this trauma as an excuse for her actions, but rather as an explanation for why she is the way she is. This nuanced portrayal of trauma is one of the film's strengths, as it avoids the pitfalls of both glorifying and dismissing the protagonist's pain. Instead, it presents her as a complex character whose trauma is an integral part of her, but not the entirety of who she is. Trigger Warning is also a film that tackles the issue of power and its abuses. The antagonist in the film represents the corrupting influence of power and the ways in which it can be used to oppress and control others. The protagonist's struggle against this figure is symbolic of a larger fight against systemic injustice. However, the film also shows how power can corrupt even those who seek to use it for good. As the protagonist gains more power over her enemies, she begins to lose sight of her original goals, becoming more like the very people she is fighting against. This exploration of power dynamics adds another layer of complexity to the film, making it a thought-provoking commentary on the nature of authority and control. The pacing of Trigger Warning is another element that sets it apart from other films in its genre. The film is unafraid to take its time, allowing the tension to build slowly rather than rushing from one action scene to the next. This deliberate pacing makes the moments of violence all the more impactful when they do occur, as the audience is given time to fully grasp the stakes. It also allows for deeper character development, as we see the protagonist evolve over the course of the film. By the time the climax arrives, we are fully invested in her journey, making the final scenes all the more powerful. The film's use of symbolism is subtle but effective. There are numerous visual and thematic motifs throughout Trigger Warning that add depth to the narrative. For example, the recurring image of broken mirrors symbolizes the protagonist's fractured sense of self, while the use of certain colors in the cinematography reflects her emotional state. These symbols are not overtly explained, but are woven into the fabric of the film in a way that enhances the storytelling. They invite the audience to look deeper into the film's meaning, making Trigger Warning a rewarding experience for those who appreciate films that challenge them to think. As a whole, Trigger Warning is a film that defies easy categorization. It is a thriller, a drama, a psychological study, and a commentary on societal issues all rolled into one. This blend of genres makes it a unique and compelling watch, as it constantly keeps the audience guessing. The film is unafraid to take risks, whether in its narrative structure, its portrayal of complex characters, or its handling of difficult themes. These risks pay off, resulting in a film that is both intellectually stimulating and emotionally resonant. The performances in Trigger Warning are uniformly strong, with the lead actor delivering a particularly powerful portrayal of the protagonist. Her ability to convey a wide range of emotions, often with just a glance or a subtle change in expression, adds depth to the character and makes her journey all the more compelling. The supporting cast is equally impressive, with each actor bringing something unique to their role. The chemistry between the characters is palpable, adding to the tension and drama of the film. It is clear that the actors fully understood and embraced the complex nature of the script, resulting in performances that are both believable and impactful. In conclusion, Trigger Warning is a film that challenges its audience in the best possible way. It is a movie that demands attention, not just for its plot, but for the ideas and questions it raises. It is not a film that offers easy answers, but one that invites the audience to think deeply about the issues it presents. Whether it's the exploration of trauma, the questioning of justice, or the portrayal of power and its corrupting influence, Trigger Warning is a film that stays with you long after the credits roll. It is a film that is both of its time and timeless, addressing issues that are as relevant today as they have ever been.